The NASCAR Cup Series race concludes from Talladega Speedway, and what looked like was going to be a win for Toyota or Ford turns out to be a win for Chevy here at Talladega. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to your video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race from Talladega Super Speedway, the Geico 500. We got a lot to talk about from this race. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, before the green flag drop in today's race, 3 drivers have to go to the rear of the field. That being Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger, and Todd Gilliland, who would have to start at the rear for unapproved adjustments. So at the start of the race, he had Denny Hamlin lead the field from the inside with Eric Almirola on the outside, and we saw Cristobal get a really strong push Eric Almirola. He was able to come off the corner, get help from Chase Briscoe, and was able to lead lap 1. Then on lap 2, the first caution fly really early for Michael McDowell, who basically lost a right rear tire. I think he had a broken toe link or something on his car that kind of caused that tire to go flat, but unfortunately Michael McDowell had a flat tire and spun out, bringing out the caution. Luckily, no one else got involved in the wreck. So we saw a little bit of strategy early where guys like Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Justin Haley, Ty Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came down pit road while the rest leaders stayed out. So at this restart, you had Eric Almirola lead the field from the outside with Chris Buescher on the inside, and Eric Almirola was able to get a great restart. Then Bubba Wallace got a really strong run. He was able to lead, and it kind of became a back-and-forth battle between Bubba Wallace and I believe Eric Almirola, but Bubba Wallace hung on for a very long time. And then eventually Daniel Suarez got by Bubba Wallace and took the lead on lap 31. Then, green flag pit stops happened on lap 35, where all the Toyotas came down pit road. We saw Ty Gibbs take 2 tires. We also saw Tyler Reddick basically spin coming to pit road, came in way too hot and way too fast. He spun out, got into the inside wall, ton of damage. Bubba Wallace had a great wreck avoidance, almost got caught by his teammate. Luckily, he didn't get any damage. Bubba Wallace didn't, and Reddick was able to continue on, but unfortunately got a penalty because he was so fast and got a lot of damage, just way too fast coming to pit road. Then a few laps later, all the Chevys and some Fords came down pit road, mainly guys like Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, and Chase Elliott came down pit road, and no one really had issues. And then the next couple laps later, we would see the next group come down, all the Fords and a couple Chevys came in, and we saw Chase Briscoe come in way too hot and way too fast coming into pit road, and he would spin out and bring out the caution because he got stuck on pit road, changing the game in this race. After that, for the caution, because the caution for Chase Briscoe, the rest of the guys that had not come down pit road at the time, that being guys like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ty Dillon, Justin Haley, Corey LaJoie, would all come down pit road to make their first pit stops of the day. Then we saw some guys top off. Kevin Harvick came in, Bubba Wallace would come in, then you had Ty Gibbs come in a little bit later as well. Because of that, the Chevys would be out front, that being Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman on the front row. And we go back racing with 13 laps to go with Chase Elliott leading the restart. There was a third lane that was trying to form up in the turn number 2, but nothing really came from that third lane. And we saw Chase Elliott basically dominate the rest of stage 1. We saw a really big help from Alex Bowman on the bottom, but it would not be enough for those guys on the bottom. And coming off the final corner, Chase Elliott would win stage number 1. Then we see the cars come down pit road, with everyone pretty much coming down pit road at the time. Everyone pretty much taking 4 tires, and a couple drivers taking 2. Todd Gilliland will get a penalty for being over the wall too soon. Riley Hurts pitted outside the box. Chris Buescher ran over equipment, and Jay Gilly had vehicle interference, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also had interference as well, which I think was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was an interfered car, if I'm not mistaken, and that would basically be issues on pit road. And then we saw a couple other guys like Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, Eric Jones. They come back down pit road to top off. So on the restart, Denny Hamlin lead the field from the outside with Justin Haley on the inside, and Denny Hamlin was able to get a really strong push. He was able to clear for the race lead. But then eventually Kevin Harvick got out to the outside lane and got by Denny Hamlin and took the race lead. And then eventually we saw Martin Truex Jr. get up to Denny Hamlin, and they both worked together, and they were able to get up to the top lane and take the lead and go back for between Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. at the time. Then eventually a third lane started forming once again, and it started up for a little bit front, but eventually they kind of started falling back a little bit more. And then we basically had green flag pit stops start happening again on lap 103, where all the Chevys ended up coming down pit road and no issues there. Then the next lap, all the Toyotas and a couple Chevys came down pit road and no issues there on pit road. And then all the Fords came down pit road, and unfortunately there were issues here for Joey Logano, who got penalized for speeding on pit road. And then I think a couple other cars came down pit road, that being Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher, who came to pit road, and they were pretty far back. Then Joey Logano came back down pit road to serve his penalty. And then Joey Logano basically got that back there. They basically lapped him, and Logano made, I think, a really stupid move where he basically got split and nearly got involved in a wreck. That was a pretty bullish move by Joey Logano, kind of a foolish move on Joey Logano's part. Luckily, there was a not big wreck because of that. Chase Elliott, though, at the time had to race lead after that caution at the time, and Chase Elliott was leading as they're coming to the white flag of stage number 2 at the time. But Eric Almirola made a very, very bold and a really, really great move. In coming to the checker flag, Eric Almirola has a photo finish with Chase Elliott at the line, and Eric Almirola will win stage number 2, his first stage win since the 2020 season. Then all the cars would come down pit road, except a couple guys like William Byron, Alex Owen, and Kyle Larson. They would stay out to basically get a little track position, but then the next lap they came in the top off of pit road, and then we had other guys coming in the top off again as well. So then on the restart, Eric Almirola lead the field from the outside with Bubba Wallace on the inside. Eric Almirola got a really strong push and got the lead, but then Harrison Burton got a really strong push to Bubba Wallace, and he was able to clear for the race lead. It really came back and forth where Harrison Burton had the race lead. Then, with 47 laps to go in this race, trouble strike for the race leader, Harrison Burton, who got loose going to turn number 3, and Noah Gragson really had nowhere to go. And unfortunately, Noah Gragson got into Harrison Burton, spinning him out, and unfortunately, it would end up collecting drivers like Zane Smith, Austin Dillon, and Austin Hill involved in a wreck. In my opinion, a lot of people are blaming Noah Gragson for the wreck. It kind of seemed like when they got to the transition to where they repaved that bump, unfortunately, this Harrison got a little loose, and Noah really had nowhere to go. I can't really put blame on Noah Gragson because he had people right behind him, so I think it's just a racing incident. It's unfortunate because Harrison Burton was generally having a very, very good and a great day overall, and it is such a shame to see what happened to Harrison Burton. I think Harrison Burton definitely had a shot to get the victory today, but unfortunately, because of that, this took Harrison Burton out of a really good chance and a really good shot to get the victory. I think he was going to have a really good chance to get the win today, and unfortunately, major issues right there that took him completely out of contention. Because of that, this would change up the game of this race. Everyone come down to road to basically what could be their final pit stops of the day. Guys like Eric Jones, Joey Logano, they basically took 4 tires, while a lot of people took 2 tires and also took only fuel as well. So then on the restart, Ryan Blaney lead the field from the outside, Bubba Wallace on the outside, and we saw Ryan Blaney get a really strong restart and was able to clear for the race lead. But then Bubba Wallace also got a great run, and he got the lead. It was back and forth between Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace there. Then we saw the third lane basically coming in, and you also saw Ty Gibbs get a really strong push because of basically the middle lane got dissipated with 28 to go, and Ty Gibbs got up there, and he took the race lead from Ryan Blaney. It was back and forth between them. Then with about 18 or 19 laps to go, Ty Gibbs got another really, really strong run. He was able to get by Ryan Blaney for the lead. And then with 10 laps to go, they started getting back into the third line. You got guys making really, really aggressive moves as stayed 2 wide, but also going 3 wide at the time. And then, with 5 laps to go in this race, trouble would brew once again for Joey Logano, who got sideways, trying to jump into third lane after contact with Corey LaJoie. Just a big checkup, unfortunately. Alex Owen was there. Logano got a little bit forced up, unfortunately, and Corey LaJoie had nowhere to go. To me, it's just a racing deal, just nothing you can really do. And unfortunately, this collected Harrison Burton and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as well, taking those drivers out of contention in this race. So all leaders would stay out, but a couple guys came down pit road to top off, mainly William Byron and Chris Rebel, who topped off on pit road. So then, on the first overtime attempt, we went back green. You have Ryan Blaney lead the field from the inside with Noah Gragson on the outside, and we saw Ryan Blaney get a really, really strong restart. But trouble strike on the restart. Ross Dane really tried to make a move on Noah Gragson on the restart and went basically 3 wide. Noah Gragson comes down on Ross Dane and caused a pretty massive incident going into turn number 1. And unfortunately, Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece had nowhere to go in the incident, and they got a ton of damage in the wreck. Kyle Larson had a ton of damage on the inside of his car. It looked like basically the right side of his car had a ton of damage. The most damage I've ever seen on the right side of a car with the next-gen car, which is absolutely crazy. And unfortunately, Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece, who are having pretty solid days, were unfortunately taken out because of the incident. To me, a lot of people are going to blame Ross Chastain, but I think it's both on Chastain and Noah Gragson. Ross basically forced it in the middle, but Noah came down on Ross Chastain. I think it's just a racing incident, but you got to blame both Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson on the incident. So then, on the final restart of this race, you had Ryan Blaney lead the field from the inside with Eric Almirola right behind him, with Kyle Busch second on the outside, and they both get a really strong restart. Ryan Blaney getting a fantastic restart. But on the restart, also, Ty Gibbs also dropped out of line due to running out of gas. And then Kyle Busch had to race lead and basically got to the bottom with Brad Keselowski and Bubba Wallace right behind him. Kyle Busch bobbed a little bit as they were coming to the white flag. Kyle Busch had the race lead. Bubba Wallace had basically got a really strong run. We thought Kyle Busch was running out of gas Turns out they were just getting really fantastic and a really good run on him for basically the victory at the time. And as they go into turn one, Bubba Wallace had to race, leave Ryan Blaney right behind him. Bubba Wallace had to lead, came down to Ryan Blaney the first time, then came back a second time, and unfortunately, Ryan Blaney got into Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace spun right back up to the racetrack, collecting a ton of drivers in the wreck, including Austin Cindric, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, I believe, was also involved in the wreck, and Brad Keselowski were also involved in the wreck as well. Because of that, Kyle Busch squirted through the middle, got through there, and as they came off the final corner under caution, Kyle Busch comes off the corner and picks up his second win of the 2023 Cup Series season, his 62nd career NASCAR Cup Series victory, and just like it did in 2008, in the first year he drove for Joe Gibbs Racing, in his first year he drove for Rich Schultz Racing, he picks up another victory. Well-deserved win for Kyle Busch, in my opinion. I don't think he had the best car all day, but he put himself in the right position at the right time. They're really worried about field, and good to see Kyle Busch picking up the victory. He had a really strong car all day. It was a really big track position kind of day, so we're going to be up front. So you really know who were the strongest cars at points in this race. But I think Kyle Busch had one of the best cars all day. Really great to see him win with the new sponsor, and very happy to see Kyle Busch pick up the victory. Kyle Busch, I think, is on the major redemption tour. This is his first multi-win season since the 2021 season, and I think this is the second of many wins he's going to get, and a big win for Kyle Busch nonetheless. Congratulations to Kyle Busch on picking up his second victory of the 2023 season. So now we're going to go look at the results of today's race, and I'll give you my score of today's race. So Kyle Busch picks up the victory. Ryan Blaney finishes second. Great run for Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney had probably one of the 2 or 3 best cars all day long. A lot of people are going to blame Ryan Blaney for the incident on Bubba Wallace. I think that was just a racing incident, unfortunately. You're going for the win, and you're being aggressive. It's a shame what happened, but nonetheless, great day for Ryan Blaney in second place. His best run for sure of the season. Chris Buescher finishes third. Great run for Chris Buescher. Was pretty quiet most of the day, but a great top 5 for Chris Buescher. Really needs a lot of points. He's been quietly having a good year so far. Great run for Chris Buescher. Chase Briscoe finishes fourth. That they believe that's Chase Briscoe's third straight top 5 finish. I think Chase Briscoe's really turning a corner in this season. I feel like Stewart-Haas Racing's had some good pace and speed, so really great to see Chase Briscoe finish in 4th place. Brad Keselowski finishes 5th. A great day for Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was actually really quiet most of the day, but survived a lot of the carnage. Got some damage near the end of the race in that last lap wreck. But Brad Keselowski was able to come across the line with a top 5. He'd been my pick coming into the weekend. I thought he was going to win today, but still a fantastic run for Brad Keselowski in 5th place. Eric Jones finishes 6th, got involved, I think, in 1 or 2 wrecks in the race. Still a fantastic day for Eric Jones. Today, I believe, is only his second top 10 of the 2023 season. It's been a struggling year for the team, so great run for Eric Jones. William Byron finishes 7th. Great bounce-back day for William Byron, who didn't have a good day at Martinsville. Good to see William Byron finishing in the top 10. Christopher Bell finishes in 8th. Bell was quiet, got involved, I think, in the last wreck or 2. Good to see Bell, though, finishing in the top 10 in 8th. Daniel Suarez finishes 9th, quiet most of the day. He finishes 9th. And then Todd Gillen finishes 10th. Great day for Todd Gillen in 10th position, who, like most drivers, was quiet a lot of the day. Good to see Todd Gillen finishing the top 10. Again, Todd Gillen quietly having a really strong year. That's his 3rd top 10 of the year so far, more than he did last year. And that's actually his 5th top 15 finish in the last 6 races. He's on an incredible streak. If not for the issues at Martinsville, he'd be on a longer streak. So great day for Todd Gillen in 10th. J.G. Elliott finishes 11th. Good to see J.G. Elliott finishing the top 15. Basically survived the carnage. Nonetheless, finishes 11th. Chase Elliott finishes 12th, made up a lot of points today on the top 16 today. Chase Elliott definitely had a top 5 car and was going to be a contender for the win. Got some damage, I think, in that last wreck, but still a great day for Chase, who got a stage win, got basically a point. I think he's going to win a race, basically, before the playoffs begin, but still a great day for Chase Elliott in 12th. Tyler Reddick finishes 13th after the damage. A great bounce-back day for him, finishing the top 15. Saw a run for him. Alex Bowman finishes 14th, survived the carnage today, gets a very solid top 15 finish. Not a bad run for Alex Bowman. Denny Hamlin finishes 15th. Denny Hamlin basically came down, Perona lost a ton of positions. Never got a chance to get back up there. But he was a really good car all day, one of the best cars today in the race. Good day for Denny Hamlin in 15th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes in 16th. But actually got damaged. I thought he was out of the race. Turns out he actually survived. He gets a very solid 16th place finish. Not a bad run for Stenhouse. Ty Dillon finishes 17th. That's his first top 20 finish, I believe, of the season so far. So good run for Ty Dillon in 17th place. Justin Haley finishes 18th. BJ McCall gets top 20, 19th. Not a bad run for him. And Eric Almirola, who had one of the strongest cars in today's race, he finished 20th. I think he ran out of gas. Kevin Harvick finishes 21st. Kevin got some damage in that second to last wreck. Kevin had a really strong car all day, in my opinion, was one of the biggest contenders. I thought he was going to get a chance to win in his 800 start. Turns out got some damage, but nonetheless, great run for Kevin Harvick. Not a good run, but he got a lot of points today. Ross Chastain finishes 22nd. Austin Hill finishes 23rd. Corey LaJoie finishes 24th. Riley Herbst finishes 25th. Austin Cindric finishes 26th. Mark Truex Jr. crashed in the last big wreck, finishes 27th. Bubba Wallace finishes 28th. Tough break for Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace was one lap away from picking up his second win at Talladega and his first win of 2023. He definitely had one of the strongest cars. I actually think he had the best car in this race. He was one of the few cars that get up the front, go through the field, and really brought that third lane at points in the race up there. Still a very unfortunate run for him, but he had a really good car. I think we go to Dover next week. He'll have another good run too. It's a shame he didn't get a chance to win, but nonetheless, he finishes 28th. AJ Allmendinger finishes 29th. 30th for Joey Logano, 31st for Ty Gibbs, who, it's a shame because Ty Gibbs had a car that was going to contend for the win. He finishes 31st. Noah Gragson, after the big wreck, finishes 32nd. Kyle Larson finishes 33rd. Kyle Larson had a really good day until that big wreck happened. It's a shame because Larson was going to be a good contender for the win. He just cannot catch a break on super speedways. Ryan Preece, after getting involved in the big accident, it's been a tough year for Ryan Preece this year. He finishes 34th. 35th place finish for Michael McDowell, 36th for Harrison Burton, 37th for Zane Smith, and finishing last in 38th place is Austin Dillon. So now we're talking about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give you my score of today's race. Honestly, this race was pretty good in my opinion. It's not like the old Super Speedway package where you can get 3 wide, and I'll admit it is very difficult to make it 3 wide, and I do wish there was a little more 3 wide racing. But also, especially after how crazy the Xfinity Series race was, I was kind of hoping for more of a tame race today. And until the end of the race, you kind of got that tame race that you were looking for if you're wanting more of a tame Talladega race. Sometimes you don't need to have 15 or 20 big wrecks in a race and 5 or 6 cars finishing. Sometimes you want a lot of cars going for the win and going for the finish. I do, like I said, wish that there was a third lane that came into play, but I did enjoy today's race overall. I'm going to give today's Cup race at Talladega overall an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, I wish there was a third lane. I hope they can find a way to make a third lane, basically can find a way for the third lane to come into play. I think a lot of it's due to the symmetrical kind of stuff, but nonetheless, I enjoyed today's race. I'm giving today's race an 8.5 out of 10. So, that is for today's NASCAR Cup Series race review from Talladega Super Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on so you know if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment below your thoughts below on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below, and congratulate Kyle Busch on picking up his second victory of the 2023 season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video. We've got some interesting, spicy comments from Kyle Busch over Corey LaJoie this past weekend, and a lot of our stuff to talk about on the channel as well that I think you're going to want to tune into. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's race review, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.